All right, cool. We are recording this. It's Tuesday morning, 7:35 a.m. Price is of Bitcoin currently at 71.35. And again, for those of you on the advantage side, yesterday we got into a couple of trades, really nice trades, shorting this thing, right? So first things first, we shorted this exactly where, let's see, yesterday around 7 a.m. So basically this time yesterday. Right, so we shorted this when price was up here, okay, the first spike into that red box. So let me show you guys exactly where that was. So that was right there, okay, so we shorted that right around this area right here, and we took profit here once, twice, and then the third pop up right here. What we did was, you could see we took the profit on the first position, 92.55. And then the second position, we took profit on 92.60 right there. And then the third position, also 92.63. And then the last one, all we really did was move our stop into slight profit around 93.37. And then once price came back up to that level, like it was right here, okay, we got stopped out in profit. And then we reloaded on another short right here. One of the perks for being an advantage is, again, if I see multiple trades through a day, which are just easy, we'll take them, why not, right? So we took a trade, another one right there last night, and came out in really good profit this morning, closed some of my position right there around 91.45. So pretty good, 20% profit. And I'm leaving the rest of my position at a stop just above this wick right here, folks, for those of you who are interested, 92.50 or so. So advantage members, if you want to consider that as your short stop, you could do that, or you could take profit here. You're sitting in a good, $240 profit right now if you close your position. So that's really nice. One reason I'm closing some in profit is because this is really that little consolidation piece that helps sort of bounce us. Rather, it's like this, right? This area, this whole area right here, this is big consolidation right here before we got this, big up move, right? And so it makes sense when we come down into this area that we're going to start seeing bounces like this, bounces like that, and we might even see another bounce, okay? Now, here's the thing about this bounce. If we're supposed to go down and bleed further, right, we should probably go no farther than the weekly and the monthly open right there. And that was actually one of the triggers based for our trades, the two short trades yesterday, okay? Again, on the free and advantage side yesterday, I did this analysis for y'all, right? And I stated that, hey, it could be very possible that, we might be seeing what looks like almost a perfect distribution right here, this thing right here, right? This chart. If you go on TradingView, it's up right now. And I explain also exactly what Wyckoff distribution is, the key levels I'm watching out for in terms of price hitting, and exactly, what parts of Wyckoff each one of these pieces mean, right? So anyway, that was this chart right here, okay? And you could see that's almost, to the T, like exactly what happened, okay? In this particular case, you see this, oops, sorry about that. You see this UTAD, which is up thrust after distribution, last point of supply, last point of supply, and then usually after this, you should just start selling off. You don't want more rebounds like back up here. That's where you start potentially invalidating this distribution. And as you can see, that's pretty much what happened right here, which is the fact that we had a last point of supply. Sellers are stepping up, boom, 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 and sold off, okay? And now what we're doing is the key areas that were previous support, which are, as you can see, this AR and this SOW, which is strength, show of weakness right there, right? These are two support lines right here, okay? So in these support lines is I would probably figure where the magic is going to happen going forward, right? And then what I mean by that is we're probably going to bounce at some point, right? It'll probably be around maybe 9,000, 9,050. And what we need to see is this area rejecting us. Okay, if it rejects us, then we're going to go down further to the targets that I spoke about over here, which was 8850, 8200, and 7900. Obviously, these are, far out targets, but it's just me laying out, the field of possibilities. Okay. Now, if we start breaking above this area, okay, we should go no further than the monthly and the weekly open. If we start getting past the monthly and the weekly open, do not, if it was me again, I would not short, okay? Because then what price is trying to do is it's basically going to bounce here, rip through all the stops, short stops, and then go all the way back to the high up here. And that'll be around $94.50, $9,500. Okay, but we're sitting comfortably in our short position, right? Things are looking good, but just, you don't want to be too complacent, okay? Don't think that just because I laid out these targets, 8850, 8200, they're going to come true, today or tomorrow. Before we even get there, who knows, we might go up like this, and then come back down like that. So, don't be presumptuous of, price just going straight down, okay? But, kudos to those of you in the advantage side who are in the short position. And as you can see, just want to show you all proof that we took this short yesterday, right there. Okay, basically right at the rejection of that monthly and weekly open, sitting in some really nice profit right now. So yeah, any questions so far on the advantage side? Doing good. If you're euphoria kicking in from high leverage short. Oh man, Shane. Yeah, I love the fact that, sometimes our community gets into really great positions, and we just sit in nice profit. Sometimes all you got to do is just, watch your money stack up, right? So it's really nice to be in that position. So kudos to you, Shane. Luke Gordon says, saw your video, in case you didn't know. Oh, okay. Wait, me or someone else? Luke? I don't think I have my video on. So anyway, all right. So now let's get to the higher time frames, right? All right, folks. This is where things get interesting, okay? Now, if we start digging in on the 4 hour, remember I stated that we did not want to come back inside this trading range. Guess what we did? Bitcoin hurt us. It came back inside the trading range, okay? So now that it's back inside the trading range, this is where things get a little bit more bearish, all right? This is where I start becoming, more, in my short term, I start turning from cautiously bullish right here to neutral and bearish right here, okay? Because in this area, I told you on consolidation, this was, for the most part, bullish, right? The fact that we were sitting above previous resistance, which was this resistance, consolidating up here, creating sort of higher lows. If you looked at it from the perspective of line chart, this was a low, your higher low. This was kind of a lower low, but another higher low. And for the most part, I was thinking that this is consolidate and push up, okay? And so now we are back inside the trading range. Okay, that opens up a wide range of possibilities. Number one, all right, it very easily opens up this possibility, excuse me, which is the EQ of this trading range right here, or I'm sorry, this consolidation right here before that push up. And that's pretty much right around, 9,050, 9,060. We just came very close to it just over the last hour or so. We came down to about 9,075. So it might be wise to start taking profits on your short, because typically when you start hitting the EQ halfway point of the previous consolidation, you tend to bounce. Okay, you tend to bounce. Maybe back to the previous support level. And like I said, that should be either this one right here around 92.35 or so, or maybe all the way back here around the weekly and the monthly open. Okay, either way, you want to be careful of bounces and not be shorting down here. Okay, so those of you who are watching, this on the free side in YouTube videos later, do not short this down here. you're going to pay the price because price is going to reverse on you. Okay, it's probably going to go up like this and torch your short. So anyway, on the advantage side, I'm really glad you guys are sitting in nice, profitable positions. But you know, if it were me, I'd be taking profit down here. All right. Okay, so again, let's go back to the higher time frames, right? So we're coming back inside this trading range. Now what we see, okay, is this little piece right here. All right, you know what? Let me do a box a little. Okay, so this area down here, if we sort of keep slicing down, this will be the area right here where we could potentially bounce at. Okay, and that's around 88.50 or so, right? And you can see right there, that's my first target. Okay, that's because this area right here was the last area where long positions, all in this move right here, had their stops sitting. So if you were a bot or an algo or a professional, you would realize that majority of people up here or even over here for the last 6, 7, 8 days have their stops residing right there. So that's a ton of liquidity, okay? So all you have to do is pressure prices down to this area at some point and you would collect a ton of liquidity. And from here, I'd probably say we get a decent bounce. Now, if we don't get a bounce, then that's even more scarier because that means that there's not even enough liquidity right here to hold up the prices. So then we go deeper, right, to the next level, which is around $8,700, which was this previous area right here, all support, push up, then it came down here as support, broke down, and you can see we have not had a meaningful retest of this area right here, which is all this, right? All this right here, we have not had a meaningful retest of here before we moved up. So it's very possible that we make a nice higher time frame retest down here and then push back up. And that's around $8,700. Okay, so that might be something else for you to keep in mind. But either way, take it one level at a time. Okay, and do not sort of short this thing thinking that it's going to go straight down because it won't. Especially if you're using a lot of capital or a lot of leverage, this thing might go up like this and then come back down. And by the time you panic up here and sell out your short, then it might move down. Or you might, be in deep bleeding positions and then it might move down. So anyway, do be careful. All right, on the daily perspective, this is where also things get interesting. All right, interesting things happening all around, right? Sell side volume is increasing. Okay, the last 2 days we saw sell side increasing. This previous area, which was, resistance and resistance right there, we broke above it. Now, seeing a daily close below this area, even though we still have a good 12 hours left in the daily, it's probably not going to be a good sign, okay? It's probably not going to be a good sign because once you start closing daily candles under the previous area that you broke above, things might start getting ugly where, we might bleed down a little bit more, maybe down to, on the daily perspective, we'll bleed down to $8,850, $8,700 for sure. And then on the daily perspective, if we tap the same area as resistance, then it's going to bleed down even further. Okay. And if we start doing the fib retraces and stuff, right? So let's go to the daily right here. And so this is how I laid out my fib retrace. Okay. So yesterday, right? Again, you can go over here, Bitcoin analysis. I told the community, this is one thing that I'm looking at right now, this chart. Okay. So let me open up that chart and show you in real time. All right. So this is a 200 Bollinger Bands, pivot right there, and cloud. Okay. So we have a couple things, right? The purple line coming in right here, that's a 200 moving average. The light blue line that you see right there, that is the Tenkan-sen line from the Ichimoku cloud, which is this red cloud right here. And the yellow line right here is the middle band of the bigger Bollinger Band, which is this big blue band that you see in the background. Notice that all three of them come to meet price, or rather come to meet together right around 88, let's just say $8,900, okay? Now, $8,900 also happens to be from this trend line and this touch to maybe another touch coming up later today, okay? So the point is that we could get down to this trend line right here by the end of today or maybe even tomorrow, and meet these moving averages and these other confluence of indicators. And that might be a good area for us to bounce on from here back up, okay? And also, that happens to be perfectly placed right at that previous area that was, this candle resistance right there. So I would personally love a bounce around 8,900 because it gives you so many different factors that if you're a cloud trader, a Bollinger Band trader, a moving average trader, or an SR level trader, this would be the perfect area for you to bounce at, or even a trend line trader, right? So all these different people should be seeing confluence right here, and they should be setting their bids right in this 8,900 area to let price, back up, okay? That's how I would personally think that this would be the first big point that price should bounce at. Doesn't mean it has to, but statistically, it better, at least a little bit. If it doesn't bounce here, then man, I think we're probably in deeper trouble. Then we're probably going to go down, even further to 8,700, 8,200. And then that final point around $7,600, $7,700, which would be the S1 on the daily, the bottom of the cloud, and then a 618 to 65% retrace of this move from this bottom to this top, okay? So again, one level at a time, right? We need to see how we're gonna bounce in this $8,900 area, if at all, okay? Does that make sense, Advantage members? Yes, no? I'm gonna take a sip of my green drink. All right, makes sense. All right, what's going on, Clark? Okay, so folks, again, Advantage members, we are well prepared for this movement. There was a reason why we started shifting our bias, from this area right here. Let me turn this off to our moving average. Actually, let's see what's happening. On the 1 hour chart, I mean, notice, we closed the last two candles above the pivot, right? This hourly candle still has 8 minutes to go. If it's going to close below this pivot, then we start targeting the next levels, which is around 87.50 or so down here. This is S1. We've also broken below the 1 hour cloud. Okay, so you can see as per the 1 hour perspective, things do not look so good. Okay, let's see here. We're also below the middle Bollinger Band right there on the 1 hour time frame. So again, also a pretty negative sign. And then obviously our Wyckoff schematic, is playing out perfectly. So, for the most part, we're just going to wait and see how the rest of the day goes. Sitting comfortably in a short. I think that's pretty much it. I don't think I have anything else to cover. Let me check out EXO if there's anything else. I mean, you could see a good amount of contracts are going into the asset. You can see 100 million right there with negative 39 million delta, 357 million, negative 65 million delta. We put in 168 million, but it was sort of a drop in the bucket of, this negative 65 and this negative 39. And look at the CVD. CVD, remember, is the cumulative volume delta, okay? So even though this session right here, I really don't like the fact that once the session breaks, meaning a new daily starts, you can see the negative 63 is completely washed out from yesterday. And then it starts a new session, right? So meaning that then it starts counting the CVD from this candle onward. So technically, what we should be doing is adding the negative 63 plus a negative 141. And right now, we're currently at negative $204 million in CVD, okay? And that's actually a very sort of negative sign, in my opinion, that there's a lot of bleeding happening right now, a lot of short positions going into the market, not enough longs or spot buys coming in. So, I mean, it's a positive sign, to be short, right? So whenever you start seeing, the delta volume like this getting higher and higher, and you can see that the darker the colors, like for example, the higher the contracts like this, 432, that means this is very significant amount of contracts coming into the system. Negative, when it gets really red like that, that's, obviously heavy selling, heavy shorting happening. And even the CVD right here, once it starts getting, very negative, kind of like dark colors like this, again, the CVD is getting to, very high degree levels, okay? Let's check out the daily and see how that looks, right? So on the daily yesterday, I mentioned that, I really didn't like the fact that we've got so many negative delta volumes right here on the daily. And from this 2.4 billion, we got negative 81, and then negative 7.7, negative 3.6, negative 63, and now we have a good negative 145 million, So the bleed has basically, already started right up here, as per the CVD right here, cumulative volume delta, okay? Now the point is, where are we going to stop bleeding, right? I would say, some of the highest delta volume right here was in these two candles, right? 191 million, 175 million. So at the very least, we may see price come down to, as you can see, these, high volume levels. This level right here, which is a POC, or maybe up here, 87.50. Remember I said the darker the color, that the heavier and stronger the buys or the sells, okay, or the volume or delta. So in this level where the colors are darker, we may see a good amount of volume that had been transacted. And if price comes back to that same level, which as you can see is around 87.25 or so, we may bounce. And then also this area right here, look at all the dark colors, right? All the dark colors right here. That's around 9,050 or so, So that makes sense. 9,050, which just so happens to be right up here, right around this area right here, right? So I'm hoping that Bitcoin at least bounces there, 9,050, $8,900, because this is a big sort of, level, right? 89.70 all the way up to where the colors are dark around 9,100. That's where a significant amount of volume and long contracts took place, okay? So at the very least, we should expect the price to bounce in that area, So we'll see. All right. Anyway, folks, I think that's pretty much it. I don't see anything else to talk about. So thank you so much for joining. I hope the analysis helped. Shane asked, how do we set up pivots and what do they really mean? Shane, you could just look up pivots and let's see here. You could look up pivots indicator. Let me pull it up. Okay, so I think it's, if I type it in right here, pivot, pick this one right here, pivot points standard. They're basically support and resistance levels mapped out just by looking at price action based on different time frames, okay? You could look at this as pivot right here, meaning that if prices go below this, this is a key pivot, meaning this is a key area of support and resistance. And so if that breaks, the next level might come into play. Again, this is on a daily perspective, right? I mean, as you can see, as per the daily, we're pretty far away from the pivot right here, and we're pretty far away from the resistance right here. So you might want to find something a little bit more meaningful, like on a different time frame, which is the pivot on the 1 hour, okay? Again, just simple horizontal support and resistance levels that get mapped out in a very clean manner like this, okay? Should we go long there? No, I mean, that's up to you if you want to go long. Like I said, please rewatch the video if, I didn't answer the questions, but those are the levels I told you to look out for. I'm currently short. It's up to you if you want to close your short or not, or if you want to go long. But for the most part, I'm probably going to see how the price bounces and ranges in this area. I don't feel like going long anytime soon unless we find some meaningful and strong areas to find support and then bounce. Camarilla pivots. No idea what those are. Sorry. Okay. That's pretty much it, folks. Again, don't get caught up with too many different indicators that people are telling you about. Focus on this. This is what matters, price action. You could see yesterday, folks, did I take a trade off 8 different indicators? No, right? All I did was map out horizontal SR levels, weekly, monthly open, and we saw that area getting rejected. I did this Wyckoff schematic. That was it. Did I pick up anything else? I mean, You know, you didn't see me pull up 8 different indicators, right? So you could see the importance of raw price action right here, understanding the technicals of SR levels. Learn this, and you know, you will never need an indicator in your life. Okay, that I can guarantee you. All right, folks, that is it. Thank you so much, and take care, and I'll see y'all in the Advantage Side chat. Cheers.